Welcome back, everybody. Clint today with Classic Firearms. And before I start talking about this sexy beast that I have right here in front of me, or the one beside me, I don't know. Anyway, Kirk, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. You guys might recognize Kirk here from Aero Precision. We talked about this guy at SHOT Show.
Yep.
And when you said that you were going to be in the area, my one request is, can you bring that back so we can actually go into a more in-depth video about this?
Yeah.
Because I think it's a pretty cool thing what you guys are doing. Right now, Aero Precision, you guys are ultimately known for builds.
Yep.
Right? You want to build something, you guys are providing everything that you need.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. And that's the same mindset that you're taking with this guy?
Yeah, for sure. So the introductory offering for this is going to be kind of based around the action here. So it's a short action. And it gives the customer kind of the option to build it how they want it, right?
Right.
We specifically had a feature set put into this that gives it a good aftermarket from the get-go.
Yeah.
Nothing really proprietary on it. Allowing that customer to kind of like they do with an AR, build it to how they want it the first time, not having to modify it afterwards. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So right now, let's just go and talk about this, and we can talk a little bit more about what's to come or what different types of offerings are there. But specifically, what is your setup here, and why do you have it set up this way?
Yeah, so this one was kind of built for SHOT Show. It's more of a PRS style build. So it has our action here. Action has a integral top rail, so scope sits on that. The barrel interface here is Savage small shank, so any Savage small shank pre-fit drops in there. It can be installed with a barrel nut, super easy. Tons of aftermarket support for it. We have a aftermarket drop-in trigger for an R700 in there. It takes R700 triggers.
Nice.
Super huge existing market for this.
Oh yeah, well there's so much available too, and I like that you guys are keeping that mindset too.
Yeah, you want a Geisley, Timney, Trigger Tech, any of those will work on this. Yeah. For chassis, the chassis it's sitting in is ours, but it's a R700 footprint on the bottom there, so any stock chassis you want to do. Right. You don't want to do a PRS style build, you can drop it in a Magpul Hunter.
Oh, that's cool.
That type of thing. Want to build more of a hunting style rifle.
Right.
And then this one's set up to run AICS and AIW mags, so detachable box magazines. The bolt heads on this, fully interchangeable, so it gives you caliber options. If you want to change calibers down the road, you can do that pretty easy. Nice. Again, with the easy barrel swap and that, you're kind of set up to build it a number of different ways right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty awesome. And so now we're talking about caliber changes, different chamberings, things along those lines. The barrels. So, before we even talk about what is it that it's running right now, then let's talk about too, like what different offerings you guys might have.
Yeah, so this one right now, the one we built for SHOT Show, it has a proof carbon fiber on it.
Yeah.
That was just one we kind of want to do. Carbon fiber is awesome. So we will have our own barrels for it at launch, though.
Gotcha.
The full steel type deal
for
those.
What is this one chambered in?
6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah,
so this one's all set up for 6.5 Creedmoor. Figured it was a good one that everyone likes. So
yeah, exactly.
Get that one out there.
So next question is it going to be just Aero, just ballistic advantage? Is it going to be a proprietary type barrel, or can you guys what's the interface?
Yeah, so it'll be Savage small shank. So that's why it has a proof barrel in it. So you'll have our barrels that you have that fit for that. But if you have a particular barrel manufacturer you like, we don't want to really pigeonhole you into using our system.
Right. I didn't know if you reached out to Proof and said, hey, make this one off for us. Or
No. So this is just one of their off-the-shelf barrels we were able to get. For this particular one. So
that's awesome, because again, I'm loving the mindset of if you want to go a little bit shorter barrel, different caliber, you can do all that.
Yeah, and it gives that customer those options if they want to do that. We are looking at doing like barreled actions, so if somebody doesn't want to tinker with installing the barrel themselves, they can do that. The options are obviously much more limited, but you can do you can do that if you want.
Gotcha. So this is the short action that you guys got going on. Do you guys have any plans for reaching out a little bit bigger, like 300 Win Mag?
Yeah.
330? Okay.
Yeah. So we want to do a long action eventually, just for kind of our introductory product to get that big chunk of that market.
Right.
Short actions are much more popular.
Oh, well, yeah. So, and ammo's typically a little bit more affordable and available. So yeah, no, it definitely makes sense to go more the short action design.
Yeah.
So very cool. Now, you said a lot of this is all built around SHOT and everything. And while we were there, right now you're just kind of calling it the Aero bolt gun.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Any other names that you're toying with? Because we can put a poll out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hot button topic in the office right now. I can tell you that.
I mean, if we wanted to go full high point with it, it could be the YC bolt.
No, no polls, no open polls. We've learned from others.
Fair enough. Well, very cool, because again, I'm excited for something like this because I've never built a bolt gun.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it as far as lockup. I mean, when you think bolt too, you automatically start thinking accuracy. You start thinking precision, and a part of me is kind of in. I've got some experience building guns, even here on the channel, and they've all worked really well. I know I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
But a bolt gun to me is like, I would love to, but I just don't have that experience or knowledge. So I'm assuming that you guys are kind of doing this because you're like, hey, yeah, we are known as building ARs.
Yeah.
You know, the M4s, the M5s. You guys got that locked down. That's awesome. I mean, I've got my AR-10 that we built, and we'll do that in a different video too. You and I will talk about. But actually, it's my M5 that I built. But I do like that you guys are kind of opening this up into the bolt game as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people associate, you know, building a precision gun with, I got to go to a gunsmith, and it's
Right.
really expensive, and there's all these barriers to entry to get into that
Right.
kind of sect of shooting. So we wanted to kind of help break those down and be like, hey, this is something you can do at home if you have the right tools and know-how. So
Right, which is very cool. So what was your experience, you know, putting this together? Like what type of time frame? Obviously you probably have pretty good experience, you know, building these guys. I assume that you had something to do with all of this.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, as far as just like, you know, action to receiver, barrel to action, you know, what kind of time frame are you looking?
I mean, you could do it in an afternoon.
Yeah,
Like it's
that's
super easy. Scope and everything, you can do it in an afternoon. So.
Right. Well, that's awesome, man. And of course, at Shot 2, well, actually, let's talk about this muzzle device.
Yeah.
What muzzle device is this at the end of this guy?
So this is actually a prototype muzzle device for our suppressors we had at SHOT Show.
Oh, okay.
So this is
All right.
one of our mantle QD muzzle devices.
Because it looks similar to the VG6.
Yes.
So it's pretty much the VG6 QD.
Yeah, essentially. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of the same technology and design pieces that you'll see kind of drawn from that go into this. And when we launch, we are expecting to do like VG6 specific suppressor mounts for our suppressors. So
that's cool. Well, my experience with the VG6, when we gave away the M5, I think it was that frog skin camo, the desert or arid one for Veterans Day, which was cool design, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, that's had the VG6 on it, and I really like that thing.
Yeah.
It's a very nice muzzle device, and the fact too that now you're starting to integrate it with QD, I think is pretty awesome. But let's go ahead and talk about that. I'm going to move this down just a little bit here since we're focusing on the muzzle end now. We shot these.
Yep.
We shot the raw, you know, the raw metal there. I thought was pretty cool, and I was pretty impressed. Typically, my experience with DI guns and a lot of different silencers are, well, you're going to get a lot of gas back to the face, stuff like that. What went into these suppressors and what different caliber offerings, all that type of fun stuff.
So yeah, suppressors, making a good suppressor, the devil's kind of in the details. It's not like a perfect science where if, hey, I take this formula, apply it, I'm going to necessarily get a good can. You kind of got to play with different configurations. There's a lot that goes into this from like a fluid dynamics perspective to kind of get all those different factors balanced. So, you know, gas blowback's obviously a huge one.
Right.
Flash is a huge one. And then, of course, noise are the three like kind of sensible or like sensory factors that you'll see, and then durability and all that other stuff comes after.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting all those like user-focused features kind of dialed in was a long process. We played with a ton of different baffle configurations, constructions, to try and make this as good as it should be.
Right,
So,
I gotcha. So what kind of like, I'm just gonna go for this because that I've held some silencers that really just, you know, come down. What kind of weights are we looking at?
it's going to depend on the model. I don't have the exact weight figures off the top of my head right now. We're going to have 3 lengths though. The construction on these is looking to be a hybrid Inconel stainless steel. So that's going to give you that really rugged, durable Inconel where you need it, and then the stainless steel elsewhere, so you're not making the can really heavy when it doesn't need to be.
Right.
So kind of playing with those, that's like another big piece of how can we configure this to be as best as it can.
Yeah, I gotcha. And now I'm noticing that these ones are all direct thread. There we go, if I can speak. So how will these interface with the QD once it's out and available?
Yeah, so the QD comes off, and the direct thread you can interchange them. It's a 1 3/8 by 24 thread, so that's pretty standard thread pitch for a lot of different QD adapters. You screw that in the back of here, and it'll just index on there, lock on. I tried to wrestle one from the engineering team before I came, and they wouldn't give me one, so I don't have one today.
Not yet.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, that just means we'll come to you, and then we'll have all this in practice.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. Cool. So, because I know a lot of them have like locking collars, things like that. Is that going to be a similar type setup?
No, it'll just be put it on, twist, and then locks on, and then twist
done.
off, and then you're done. Yeah, super simple, super intuitive. Okay. We don't want to make it more complicated than it needs to be, because a lot of those really complex QDs, it makes human error more of a factor, and you can have a baffle strike, and nobody wants that. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think like one of those things too that I recently learned, because I've never done this. I've always used the shims that come with the QD muzzle devices and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I can't remember who it was that I was talking to. A part of me, I was like, I'm tired of timing stuff. I'm just gonna throw a crush washer on there and call it a day. And then somebody was like, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. Actually, you explain it. Why don't you want to use a crush washer on a QD muzzle device that you might mount a silencer to?
So it can affect concentricity. So you want your bore of your suppressor to be perfectly in line with your bore.
Yes.
When you torque down a crush washer, it's not super consistent, and you can get kind of an uneven
Right.
angle, I guess,
Right.
On there, and then they'll give you a baffle strike and launch the can off the end of the gun, and that's a huge investment. You don't want to do that. So
yeah, the paperwork alone is already enough for me to be like, is this worth it? And then you go and shoot one, and you're like, yes. The last thing you want to do is put an additional hole through it.
yeah. So like a QD for a suppressor, you use like a shim. That way you're not like having to like crush it down. It just you get your torque and it times it right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Off the get go. Throw some sort of thread locker on there and you're good.
And you're good, yeah. Absolutely. Well, this, again, is all very exciting. I'm excited for it. I'm ready to build one. And if you guys would like to see maybe like, I don't know, one of these Aero bolt guns in a giveaway, what type of configuration would you be looking at? Or, in my mind too, is maybe we do an entire build series around bolt action rifles.
Yeah.
And, me, Matt, Katie, we all go out there and kind of build our own. But I don't know if you've seen some of our other build series. I've gotten the last 2 high-end guns.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to apparently relinquish that reputation of being with the high-end, super expensive builds, and now I'm going to go for the most affordable options. I guess. We'll see. I'm a little spoiled right now, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but this option's up to you. You want to do it high end, you can do it high end. We want to make sure the action has those premium features and everything. So
Right.
if you want to do that, you can. If you want to, do it more minimalist, you can build it out that way.
Yeah.
We want to make sure the action's going to hold up to, either.
So either way, you're going to be getting a reputable, a durable gun,
Yeah.
a reliable gun,
Yeah.
and it's going to run, and
Yeah.
that's going to be awesome. But if you guys would like to see a whole build series around this, other different bolt actions maybe you'd want to see, because I am a fan of Proof Research. Love these guys, and I've, for selfish reasons, I've held on to a 300 Win Mag back over there. And the reason I asked about 300 Win Mag earlier too is we recently got in the Mark 13 clone.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys have been asking about that. And yeah, this is a complete Mark 13 Remington action, Elijah barrel, 300 Win Mag with the Accuracy International stock. And I'm not ready to give that away yet, so you guys can just hold on, all right? I haven't even shot it yet. So I was asking about the long action, because I think it would be kind of fun to, do all of these almost, and have like just an entire day of just bolt action guns, great distances, stuff like that, and see what we can get out of them. I'm super excited about this because, again, Aero Precisions knows, build it at your budget.
Yeah.
If you want to take and this is one thing that I love about building. Again, you and I are gonna, in this video, hop right into another one, I think, about just building.
Yeah.
Because what I love about that is if you want to build your ultimate extreme high-end gun, but you can only afford a part at a time, well, that's cool. You do that.
Yeah.
And then you're building it out to your spec, not mil spec, not commercial. It's what you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty awesome. But anyway,